You talk to a lot of folks all over of all different backgrounds of all. That's my favorite parts about your show, man, is I never know who we're going to get. And it's so rad. And who, what are a couple of things that make you nervous?
Well, one thing that really worries me, and I know, people, I don't think they get the full grasp, but, you saw the thing that just happened in Russia, right?
Yeah.
Those ISIS guys.
Yeah.
We don't even have a border right now, and I'm having a CIA targeter come on, beginning of April. And what she's saying is that all of these terrorist organizations who were against each other, right, are now forming an alliance with one common goal, and that is us.
Yeah.
And these people might come from caves. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
We were over there for 20 years and lost.
Yeah.
And now we're here. I think the thing that scares me more than anything is the suppression of facts. That if you can control how people speak, then you can control how they think. And that's happening right now.
So what's the antidote? This?
I think I think it's getting to a point where it can't just be about business anymore. You got to be a good example. You have to, the youth don't even know where to turn,
right?
And they're so confused. But yeah, I think it's powerful voices, being a good example to the youth. And you see them, man. I think there's a lot. I think young men are looking for masculinity. What does it mean to be a man? Everywhere you go, we've lost it, man.
That was one of my questions for you. What's a good dad?
What's a good dad?
Yeah. What's a good dad?
I think a good dad is a lot of things, but I think it's being a good example, not a friend.
Mm-hmm.
A good example, and
I literally walked across. I was with a group of parents picking up our kids, and my son's in 8th grade, and they were doing a little get together. And I heard one dad look at his daughter and say, "No, I am not your best friend. I am your dad." And I literally stopped the conversation I was in and walked across the room and high-fived him. And he's like, "What are you?" And I said, "That's the best parenting I've heard today." Like, well done, man. His daughter's amazing. He's amazing. But it was that, no, I'm not your best friend.
Dude, look at the confidence that young males have today.
Yeah.
Go to any department store, go to Home Depot, ask somebody where a section is, or ask them a question about a power tool. They can't even look you in the eye. Probably, 75% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
They have no confidence. You know why they don't have any confidence? Because it's here. I don't want to listen to you cry. I don't want to listen to you moan. Here's a phone.
Digital
Look at
babysitter,
that. Yeah. Put the play button.
I heard one guy.
Nobody's present with their kids anymore.
That's it. I heard recently. Stop blaming the kids.
Yeah.
Kids are the same as they've always been. It's the parents that have changed.
It is, man.
And we've just outsourced it to these little boxes.
Yep.
If I get grief for one thing, I get grief for a lot, but if I get grief for one thing, it's my stance on no phones for kids. And you posted something recently, or you said recently, "Hey, dude, you're not giving the world to your kids. You're giving your kids to the world."
Yeah.
Like
you're not giving, when you give your kid a phone, you're not giving them access to the world. You're giving the world access to your kid.
Right.
And there is,
There's
just
hell
look
to pay
around,
for it.
man.
Yeah.
The world is not a good place.
And that means we have to turn the phones off, which means I told a parent recently, for every punishment, their kid got in trouble and they're like, "I'm going to take away this. I'm going to take away this." Okay. But you have to backfill that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You have to be present then. Like you can't, if you cut your kid off from everything, then you've got to show up. You got to take them out to breakfast. You got to take them to lunch. You got to go be a part in their life. You can't just sit in front of the TV doing this, hollered at them, right? You got to go be present. And that's hard and exhausting. And that's what we signed up for, right?
You are your kid's biggest role model.
Yeah.
You just are. And so spend time with them and discipline them and all just think about what values, are most important to you and pass that along, standing up for what's right, standing up for yourself.
And that means being able to do the things that you need to do to be able to stand up for yourself, right?
Maybe supporting the underdog.
Right.
That's a big one. That's one of my top core values is always go for the underdog.
Always, yeah.
And yeah, man. But I think that's what being a good parent is to me.
Mm-hmm. What about being a good husband? What's that mean?
Being a good husband is, it's a lot of the same. It's being present. It's appreciating your wife, and it's easy to fall in to. We struggle with it right now. We have a 2.5-year-old and a 4-month-old, and so
you don't even know what day it is, man.
It's hard. It's hard to spice it up a little bit. It's hard not to get home from work, have dinner, give the kids a bath, and then
collapse.
We're both exhausted. It's carving out the time to worship your wife, man.
Yeah.
Treat her like the woman that she was when you first got married, because she's still that woman, and let her know how much you love her, how much you appreciate her.
Especially during this season when it's just chaos.
Yeah,
it's chaos, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll end with this, and I kept this. It was a private exchange between us, but I think it's fair to say out loud. I haven't had many moments of dude, I screwed that up. Like I did I was so convicted when you spoke publicly about hey, I've been sitting on this for a while, but I found faith and I'm going all in on this. I'm going to learn about it. And you've pushed back on people because when you sign up for that, you get everybody's opinion from all over the planet about how you're doing it wrong and all that. But, and as I listened to you talk about it, it was this parade of men in your life who had shown up. It just kind of this progression. And as you laid that out, I was in the middle of that and I said nothing. I kept my mouth shut. And as your friend, and I told you this privately, but I think it's fair to say, I remember an atheist talking about it. And he said, I'll never get upset with somebody talking about their faith with me, because if a truck was coming down the road and they ran and pushed me out of the way of that truck to save my life, I'd be grateful. And if you think a truck is barreling down the road, whether I think there's one coming or not, please push me out of the way, right? And in that same sense, and not like a push out of the way, but an invitation, I owe you, I'm sorry for keeping my mouth shut. I have been inspired from that moment to stop keeping my mouth shut. When I see somebody hurt and I see somebody reaching, somebody hey, what do you think about something? Not being no, if the time presents itself, we're going to have a conversation. You don't have to go with me on it. That's all good. But I let you down on that, man, and I'm sorry about that. But know this, from that moment forward, it's been a cool shift. And like you said, my kids will get to see a different dad, and my wife gets to see a different husband, and hopefully my friends will experience a different guy. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your willingness to stand up. I've learned something new, and I'm going to be pretty vocal about it. It's awesome.
Thank you. Here we are. It's all good.
Here we are.
It's all good.
I'm grateful for you.
You too.
Good luck raising 2 little ones.
Hey, I'm going to need it.
Yeah. But you need a lot more than that.
Thanks for having me on, John.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it.
All right, man.